I was born with this disability. It's called arthrogryposis multiplex congenita. I walk with braces. As I started getting older and losing strength, I then had to start using a wheelchair. And that's when life really changed for me because I had to think in terms of a wheelchair rather than a person that's walking. My parents left the house to me, and it wasn't the same home that I lived in when I was walking. Now that I'm in a wheelchair, and I realized that when I moved in, there were some things I was going to have to do to make it more accessible. Living in an older home, I found that the light switches were very high, the doors were narrow. I used to be able to walk, so I could walk into the bathroom. Then when I became a wheelchair user, I couldn't even get into the bathroom. So the doors had to be widened. We had to build a ramp out in the front of the house so I could get in and out. When I first moved in, my parents had carpeting. And carpeting is terrible for a wheelchair. It wasn't long before I started tearing it up. So what I decided to do was take up the carpeting and keep the original floors. So one of the things I found when I did this to the floors was that there was a big gap between the living room floor and the dining room floor. So I ended up, gave me a huge bump trying to come in. So I found this mat and I put it there, and it just kind of cushions when I go from one to the other. I then found that the threshold where I came in from the front door was also huge, and my chair had to go over it. So I found this mat that is made for wheelchairs and thresholds, and I came in, I put it on here, and once again, it makes it easier to go over the threshold. I want to talk about the flooring. What happened was I just tore up the floor in the hall because it's the hall where I make all my turns. And the same thing in the bathroom. It's where I make all the turns, and it was falling apart. So I had to get tile that was cemented or glued down so that I can make all those turns without damaging the floor. Because this is such an old house, there were a lot of doors, and they were really narrow. You could see the door frame. There were French doors, and we had to take those off. And then this door that leads to the hallway, you can also see it has a door frame, but it had to be widened. The bathroom door also had to be made wider. My bedroom, I took the door off completely because I needed all that space just to be able to go through. So ordinarily I don't back up into my bathroom, but I'm doing it so you guys can get an idea of what my bathroom looks like. The first thing, I'll start with the door. And I had to put in a kick plate because I started scuffing the door really badly. Then I put in a handle for the door instead of a knob. It had those old-fashioned glass knobs, which was really pretty and but not very functional. The sink, it was on a cabinet. I had to take the cabinet off so that it's wide open and I'm able to get under it to, brush my teeth and things like that. The toilet was still too low, so I went and bought this toilet seat that is of various heights, and I got it to where it's even with my wheelchair, so it's an even transfer. There's not much I could do with the tub, so I went and bought a shower bench. I have it in the tub right now, but we take it out in the mornings when I need to take a shower. So this is my bedroom, and I really didn't have to do much to make it accessible. Just a couple of things. One of them is the light switch. I had to lower it since I'm in and out of my room so much. I decided to lower the light switch and make it one that's push button instead of a flip switch. And the other thing I did, even though I may not have the privacy of closing the door, I wanted the access to be easier for me, so I just took the whole door down. That's why you see an opening, but you don't see a door frame or a door. And I had to compromise privacy for that, but access was more important. So this is my office, and this is probably where I spend the majority of my time. I have my computer back here, and my printer and scanner, and this is also where I come to read. And so this is probably my day room, I would call it. So this is my kitchen, and I didn't do much by way of modifications because I don't cook. I can't cook, but if I did, I would have to make certain modifications. But that's where my attendant comes in. My attendant lives here with me, and she does all the cooking, and she does the washing over in the laundry room. So I haven't had to make any modifications for that. So over here on the wall is a long stick that I have. I use that stick if I want to change the temperature on the thermostat for the AC or heater. And I use the stick to turn on and turn off lights. One last thing that I want to say is that you see this red pitcher of water beside me? I have my attendant fill it up to the top with ice, and that's what I drink out of throughout the day because I can't reach the sink. I want to thank you for coming to my home and visiting and getting an idea of what a person in a wheelchair goes through in order to make a home accessible. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact Accessible Housing Austin. And I want to thank Accessible Housing Austin as well for doing this. We work really hard to find homes that can be accessible for people with disabilities, because everyone deserves a home. Everyone deserves to be happy. And that is what I have, and I want to see that happen for other people with disabilities.